with none other than Jono himself in the esports world. How are you doing today?
Doing well, but it's been
Good.
a crazy semester, but we're locked in and ready to go.
I believe it. For people who don't know who you are, go ahead and I guess give us a brief intro about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Jono Eaton. I'm the Esports Broadcast and Content Coordinator here at Michigan State University.
Awesome. And you also do a side hustle of photography, I saw, which was pretty cool. Is that something you're trying to pursue or just like a.
Yeah, so my undergrad degree is in television, a combination of television production and game design. So I had a lot of
Okay.
like in photography classes, and since starting this position, a lot of what I do is take photos of students, take videos of the students. So I just said, hey, you should practice outside of my work as well, like diving into the fun side of photography. And it's nice because a lot of times I'll have the work camera for events, and I'm able to step away and use it for the
Right?
night while the kids are tucked in. So.
That is really awesome. What made you end up pursuing this path in this industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's kind of a fun story. Originally, I was an undergrad at Fair State University up in Big Rapids. Overwatch League on Twitch, and I was like, "This is like the game of the future." I grew up in a place with no internet,
Mhm.
and very cell service in my house. We had like no basement. So what I had played, like with people, like my brother, competitive. I played a lot of traditional sports. So playing those traditional sports, when I went to college, I saw Overwatch League. Started playing Overwatch with my buddies. I was like, "Hey, I want to join a team. So my college have a team. Maybe I'll get on a team." Ended up creating an esports club. From 7 students at our first meeting to over 300 by the time I graduated. Then they asked me to come and work the staff position for that. So then I became the director there at Fair State. After
Definitely.
years of doing that, I saw, stepped away more from doing the broadcast stuff and mostly into doing paperwork. And I said, hey, wait, broadcast stuff is what I have my degree in, what I really enjoy doing.
Right.
And the MSU position came available, and I took an opportunity and came and joined Chris Bilski here at MSU doing all the broadcast and content stuff, which has been awesome. It's what I really enjoy doing.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing that?
Joined MSU in February of 24. So
Oh, wow.
I was staff at Fairs as of January of 2020. So.
That's really cool. So, like, as of right now, like, what have been, I guess, like the modest part so far in this?
Yeah, it's a lot of just kind of one initial challenges I had was I went from being the student club president and like hanging out with a bunch of the players like as friends to
Mhm.
their staff director in 3 weeks. Like I was staff, so that kind of
Right.
because I graduated in the fall, so like in the spring semester, a bunch of the kids who knew me and had like gone out, they were like, "Hey, you know," and it's like, "Yes, no, I actually am." But that we're with now, right? Like everybody, I graduated and it made it a lot easier. Currently, a lot of the challenges is just we're still doing. It's me and Chris doing an entire athletics department's worth of work, right? We're
Yeah.
scheduling the track buddy, we're doing everything. So it is a high workload, but it's something that we know that we can handle, and we're continuing to kind of do what we want across the landscape. So kind of set personal boundaries in participating in things that we believe in, and push the belief.
That's awesome. Now, there are some like I guess in the esports industry, like, where like you have to either be a player or you can't be in the esports. And you're pretty much showing that like there's more options than just that. So, how hard been to like really like what the most understanding part of your role is in the esports for the younger folks?
Yeah, a big part of what we're doing here is that's one of our core missions is the career part of it as well. So teaching kids what other parts they can be in. Since I'm the broadcast guy, we pay students to help run our broadcasts. So we have
Mhm.
the announcers, obviously, who sit in front of the camera. You see them, but we also have producers. We have replay people. We have people who are practicing spectating, and then writing. We're like building out weekly videos that are coming out soon of like the week. And so the entire kind of broadcasting to social media to all the content, a lot are getting involved that way. So I work with a lot of the when a student first comes to me and says, "Hey, I want to work for you," one of the things I ask is like, "What's your degree, and what projects will help you get a good portfolio, and what
Mhm.
projects will help your resume when you go out in the industry, and what can we do that benefits both me, so that we're paying you for something that's valuable to us, but also helps
Right.
you when you graduate." So we're looking for like 3D students up to a lot of 3D assets. So it's really cool to get students involved in their major, and
Mhm.
they can go back to the professors and say, "Hey, I know you assigned this assignment. Can I tweak it a little bit?" And that way we can actually use it for the esports broadcast. And professors are normally pretty excited because it's typically more than what the professors are asking for. They go, hey, can we change this a little bit? But I'll do a lot more work. And the professors really love working with us.
That's awesome. Are you or is there really any current projects that you're like excited about, or what is like one of projects that you're like, yeah, we did this? What kind of moment would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was a 3D student last semester in the spring, and so that student did a lot of 3D design stuff for us. We are our additional 3D since this one graduated, so it's like cool. It's nice to grab a senior at the end of the year, but
Right.
a lot too like the social aspects. We're working with people who that's their degree, they're in PR, and so they really want to push forward with that. A lot kind of in progress since I just got here.
Mhm.
And with individual students. What the current full production setup that we use, I had built a version of it, and then I had taught a student how to use it, and then I was taking a bunch of meetings, and I said, "Hey, make your own version from the ground up, and if you have any questions, get a hold of me." Well, by the time that we were done with that day, his was well built that we actually started using his as the core piece that we're building off of. So it's
That's
fun for
awesome.
him that he go back to the professor and say, "Hey, look, I'm actually the using for the actual broadcast was built on the back of student work."
That is really cool. So you were pretty much like the to what he's doing.
Yep. Yeah, and as sophomore he
Mm.
came in and like not point where I like if I could not be here for whatever reason, he can run a broadcast on his own.
That is so cool. It's crazy that there are ways to be a part of this industry, even though it's still so young. Um, and much of like a range for people who always get involved or say that they were a part of something broadcasting part like what is today for that.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's there's kind of for day. I come in around noon or two, depending on the day. Tends to be a lot of meetings, emails through, but until 5 when everybody else gets off work, and then that's when I kind of where we have our shows that start typically around 6:30. So the students will come in and start around 5:30, help me like set up the show, get everything ready, and then run our full broadcast for the night for our matches. Afterwards, we do like player interviews, talk to the players. Then once we wrap the actual show, we sit down and typically grab clips out, send it to our editors, that way they can start to work on like the week of.
And a student in this, including the editors.
That's correct. Yep. Yep.
Very
Currently staff
cool.
and all as far as content goes, I have a team of student workers. They're actually by, so they're getting paid hourly to do stuff for us, which is nice as well.
That's really cool.
I support student. Do make sure that you know your value and that you get paid for what you're doing, but also every single person I know who's high up in esports somewhere did a lot of stuff for free. So
Yeah.
if you're learning something, feel free to take those opportunities for free and learn from that. But if it's something you know you're doing for free, make sure you get paid for it.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, that's such good advice to know. Like advice you would want to tell your younger self before getting into all of this.
Oh, my younger self?
Mhm.
Just keep going. Like it's get off at some points. But sure that you lock in and really take advantage. A big thing that I've always done is said yes to every opportunity that was given to me, and then figured out the details later. I'm the type of person that if there's somebody asks me to do something I've never done before or don't know how to do, I say yes and then figure it out afterwards. And I tell all my students that too. Like keep saying like it's scary, you're not going to know, but if you just walk into a room and say, "Yep, no problem, I'll handle it," you'll learn a ton by doing.
Right. And another question to this one. It's like the collegiate space right now used to be like back in the day, it used to be like clubs and that was it. And now we're growing even for you to like broadcasting and paying students to do things for the esports space. How do you think it's going to be for the next 5 years? How-
That's a great question. I see it. We're going to start to mirror traditional athletics, and I really have had that direction. It's going to be a lot of growth. It's going to be a lot of slow growth, though. People are kind of crazy. The sustainable way to do it, you want to make sure that you have the right people bought in, and just tell the stories that way. There's going to be a lot more opportunities for positions. I know there are other schools with like staff members, so
Yes.
those are time, and I see the big schools kind of continuing in that way. And a lot of what we do, it's just find your target audience. For me, my target audience is people who already care about Michigan State. Right? We have 500,000 people living degreed alumni. So people who are alive with a degree from Michigan State, that's my target audience. So there's a lot of people who watch collegiate sports, and that's awesome. If they tune into our streams, they're more than welcome to. But I'm trying to also reach the 500,000 people and all of their friends and family who might not know about esports, but we're off for Michigan State.
Have y'all planned to be in any part of like competitions
Yeah.
around?
Yeah, so varsity titles we have are Rocket League, Valorant, and Super Smash Brothers.
Mhm.
Our leagues that we're playing in this year is the Big Esports Conference and then the Power Esports Conference. So the Big Esports Conference is the schools that in traditional athletics are in the Big Ten, although the esports side isn't affiliated with Big Ten. And then the Power Esports Conferences are schools that are traditionally Power Four teams are playing in that league. So a lot of schools that are alumni, like I said, my target audience already automatically knows when they see it, and
Mhm.
that's kind of why we kind of build in and play in those leagues. We also play in a lot of tournaments. We went to Hugh Fest. We go to tournaments pretty much any chance that we get the opportunity to, and we just want to connect our audience with what our students are doing.
That's awesome. That is really cool. And they're also taking your broadcast students too, with these events. What part of like what do they do during the events?
Yeah, great question. When we were at Riptide, so Riptide's a large smash town in Kalahari in Ohio.
Mhm.
We had brought, I think it was, we ended up having 20 total people there. Me, the swim coach, and then 18 students. Only a couple of those students were players, and the rest were like we ran the entire collegiate scene for that. So like Grayson was main head tournament organizer, put the whole collegiate thing together, recruited a lot of teams to be there, and then we ran actually two separate broadcasts: the A stream and then the B stream. For the collegiate matches throughout the day. So, like my said, that had built everything, he was sitting there running one of them. Another student that we trained up was running the B broadcast. So the students are actively doing that. We had student photographers there, gathering content for our socials and for the event as a whole. So when we bring people to a lot of these events, we try to make sure that all it's just the players that are going, but we bring a lot of
Right.
student staff who can kind of have additional experience as well.
That is so cool. And then I guess since mainly right now you're doing like younger in the next generation for broadcasting and like they're pretty much your staff, you were recognized for the support staff of the year by the NACE. How like that experience?
Yeah, that was phenomenal. A very everybody who kind of helped participate and who voted for me in that. A lot of great candidates. Everybody else up there, phenomenal people as well. It meant a lot to me because I did take a step down. So when I was at Ferris, I was the director there, right? So I technically took a demotion to come join Michigan State. But I realized Chris Bilski, what he's doing, his vision for the program here. I took a step down, so I was really thankful to kind of everyone noticing the kind of insane work that we put in over the course of last year, and really being rewarded that way. So it meant a lot to me. Still means a lot to me. It's hanging up in my or it's sitting up on the shelf, like right in the middle of my living room. So if
That
anybody
is
comes
so
over,
cool.
they get to ask about it.
That is awesome.
But it
Um,
definitely wouldn't have been possible without the students and the support from Michigan State.
oh, absolutely. That is so cool. I feel like that is like just a experience that's like if you do it, anyone can do it. It's like a moment for not just you, but like for the entire team that is right by you. It's like it's
Yep.
everybody's trophy.
Yes, 1000%.
Yeah.
And a lot of the students understood that too. When I went home, I was like, "Hey, like this would possible without you guys." Was also nominated for marketing team of the year, so that even have us be like, "Look, this is all of us."
Right. That is so cool. I guess do have one more question. One thing you would wish people would understand about the esports that aren't even around it, what would that be?
That it is competition. Once, so like you get the same competitive mindset as you do in sports. I played a lot of traditional sports growing up, big in wrestling. It's like that feeling that you get from like putting a lot of effort in and winning in those sports. You get the same feeling from esports. So I think it's a lot more apparent when they kind of go competition and they see our players like jump on each other after a win. Um, it makes a lot more sense. But a lot of people just haven't been exposed to it, or if they do, it's just like, hey, my kid plays esports. He's in his Grand Theft Auto. No, that's
Right.
not esports. That's not the competitive team focused side of it.
Right. And it's also hard for like I guess people who don't under esports that that it's much so close to being like a football game. I with my stepdad all the time. He's always like, "Why would I want to pay to watch people play games when I can play the game?" And it's like, okay, well, you're like hurting yourself because why would I want to watch people play football when I can go off and play it myself? Like, you got to dream big and either do it, and it's just a
Yeah,
whole topic with him.
in watching the pros, especially like you watch pros to get better, to learn things from them. Like I'm watching the NFL and I'm a big Madden player, and so when I watch the NFL and I watch a cool play that they run, or I'll start to read defenses before the snap, and you go like, this is makes the game fun, is getting really good at something. So when you're watching NFL, when you're watching basketball, when you're watching hockey, you really like, well, they're the best at it, and I want to see them be the best, and that's the same
Right.
for esports as well.
And especially on the broadcasting side, the people that are casting it themselves, if they're not hyping up the match, then like no one's going to be really into it, and that's like the part. I feel like esports itself is more, like our person to the edge of your seat than football is nowadays, um, and it's just wild experience for sure.
Yeah, the make or break a good show, and so that's why, like, when we get new casters in, I put them through, like, a little training course, I talk to them, I kind of get our expectation, I show them good examples, of what to do and kind of expectations for everything, and then just let them have fun and really elevate the broadcast. The watching esports with no explanation, the same thing with sports, like, you can watch football, but, like, the analogy add a lot to it, and so we try to push our students to be better in every aspect, but teaching them why it's important to say the right things.
Right. What is that process like to train new broadcasters?
Yeah, a lot of it's just kind of them getting people in as early as possible, working with them, showing them clips like, "Hey, this is a great like, tell me why this moment. Why do you think this moment was great?" So I used to teach some classes at fairs as well, so kind of
Mhm.
walk through like mini lexically of like, "Hey, why do you think this was great? What was this element or this play? What's your?" A lot of times I'll ask them what their favorite esports moment is, and I'll
Mhm.
go find the clip and I'll talk to them about the clip. Like, what makes it so good for you? And then like you meet the audience and you go like, "Is it nearly as good now?" Like, no, it's probably not. It's because of what
Right.
the casters and announcers were saying, and then they kind of go like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." And then like have them go a lot of times too, like we have same casters week over week, so it's easy to be like, hey, go home and watch like some of your favorite moments or watch some current broadcasts and just see what you like about it and see if you can't incorporate that into your own broadcasting.
That's awesome. I guess my final question would be in the experience you've had at MSU, or the beginning of it, what would be like the memorable story you would want to share?
Most memorable story? I think a lot of my favorite stories, the team's stories are awesome, but a lot of it's connecting with the players.
Yeah.
So the team one would be the Rocket League win over Ohio State last year, Game 7, overtime. The players, we were actually go. I think we were down by 2 or 3 points early in the game, and our freshman, who's it was a phenomenal player, looks at the rest of the team and he says, "We got them right where we want them. Right? They're down 0-3 in Game 7,
Right.
and the rest of the team like kind of laughs and that really makes them like believe that they can win, and we ended up coming back and ended up winning that game in overtime, and the guys jumped up and were super exciting. But a lot of the times it's just the small little talking to the students, and like I noticed that I like to wear a ton of like jewelry and watches and started asking about that, and I kind of talk why I got into that, and now he's somebody who does that himself, so a lot of times he'll come and he's like, what do you think of these, and like get to share those little moments with the students is really what makes the job enjoyable.
That is awesome. This was such a great podcast, and so much for letting me interview you. Could our guests connect to you? What would
Yeah,
be the best way?
my always open, whether that's on Twitter, whether that's on Discord, Instagram, whatever it may be. Twitter's probably the easiest way to connect to me. Discord's up there as well, which you can find in my Twitter bio at Coach Ricochet, spelled a little goofy on purpose. So running inside jokes since middle school, actually. So
That's awesome. And we'll go ahead and we'll put everything in the descriptions also, so you can definitely go check him out and what he's working on at MSU. Cool. All right.
thanks for having me.
Sweet. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Take care.